A ballerina's perspective, from performing with New York City Ballet and Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater to publishing poetry books and mentoring kids and teens. Join us in a weekly discussion with experts to gain mental health clarity and achieve growth and moral consciousness. Give our show a 5 stars, comment, share, and come along for the ride. Welcome to the Growth, Grace, and Gratitude podcast. Today, we will talk about the journey of decluttering your life and boosting your overall well-being with Julie Caraccio, who is an award-winning professional organizer, author, speaker, and certified life coach based in Wheeling, West Virginia, who works with people all over the globe. As host of the popular podcast Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, Julie is dedicated to empowering individuals to create their ideal life. She teaches practical strategies to overcome physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual clutter. Julie's mission is to help you break free from obstacles so you can fully share your talents with the world. So, what a beautiful mission and journey, Julie. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful topic because I feel like the first thing that we all love to do when we're growing in our spirituality to achieve new levels of mastery, decluttering is the top priority that everybody craves or really does desire to achieve. Why do you think decluttering is such a huge deal when it does come to kind of learning about how to master ourselves?
Everything's energy, right? And so clutter represents stuck, stagnant energy. So if you're wanting to grow and wanting to change, then the act of clearing your physical space opens up all possibilities. Like if you say to me, "Hey, I want a romance," but your closet's stuffed to the gills and there's no room for that person to put their stuff in your space, you say in the universe? Nah, I don't need a romance. You're craving it, but you're not. That's not what you're telling the universe.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. It's like the idea of making space, it also puts you in that awareness of what is your space for? It's like what are you using the space that you're given for? ClickFunnels easily build any type of online business and sales funnel in record time, no matter what your product, service, or niche, without any tech design or experience whatsoever. Try the ClickFunnels 14-day free trial, link in the description of the podcast. Are you subconsciously not even tuning into the potential to grow your space and evolve your mind? So yeah, it's a really interesting way to look at things and to connect back to yourself and to your
Hmm.
physical reality, right? It helps you navigate that as well.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to decluttering your mind versus your space, is there something that's more important, or does it have to happen one before the other? What is your take on that?
The inner reflects the outer. So if you clear your desk space, it's going to help clear your mind. You clear your mind, you're going to be more motivated to clear your physical clutter. Depression causes clutter and clutter causes depression. So that's a vicious cycle that you can get caught up in. So for people listening or watching, start where you can, right? It will affect whatever you do will have a positive impact on that area and other areas of clutter. So just take that first step.
Podpitch is the first and only software that finds, writes, and sends pitches to podcast hosts from your actual email address. Podpitch will make sure you get podcast bookings, guaranteed. Link in the description of the podcast. Fantastic. And when it comes to ways to declutter the mind, do you have any activities that people can do that are fun, but also motivating to help inspire that decluttering process?
Well, it depends. Obviously, all individual because what might motivate me might not motivate someone else. So I'm a huge fan of finding a mindfulness practice, and that can look to different things to different people. So, for example, I have a friend that loves classical music. And so he likes to put on some classical music that helps get him into a meditative state. I love mowing the lawn because mowing the lawn lets me do a mind dump and brings me more present. I can't explain to you why that works for me. Meditating, I'm a huge fan of that. What if you are mentally kind of, and I should say for me, mental clutter is things like insomnia, it's monkey mind, like you can't shut your mind off. It's anxiety. It's all of that. And so when all else fails, what I say to people is just take a deep breath. I share this story. This was my first ever job, and I was decluttering an entire home. And I did the top floor. Then I got to the main floor, and I had got to the kitchen. And this was the kitchen pantry, I should say. This was the biggest pantry I'd ever seen in my life. And it's like I looked up, it was like 6 feet high, all shelved with food, and I was overwhelmed and I couldn't think. And so I said, just breathe.
Unlock your best life with Soul app. Book a holistic wellness experience with a trained guide and start changing your life today with compassion practices, inner healing, food and diet, and so much more. Tap into a healthier and happier life with the #1 purposeful living app in the US, the Soul app, link in the description of the podcast.
Start taking deep breaths, get back in your body, ground yourself. And then I came back and like, okay, I know how to tackle this. But I was so overwhelmed. And that's one reason that people don't attempt to tackle clutter. They're simply overwhelmed. So whether it's clutter or life, when all else fails and you're overwhelmed, just start breathing, right? Start grounding yourself. And then you can take steps to move forward.
That's so true. It's step by step because sometimes when we want to clean everything up, we feel like we have to do everything quickly, and it's not always the case.
You
We want to usually rush when we want to clean or declutter. So, yes, taking a step back and just breathing through it, it's so true. It's such a great way to find balance. Sanger Daniel's online seminar promoting a positive message of self-healing with bioenergy work together with live seminars and remote coaching. Use code BIO20 for a 20% discount for our audience. Link in the description of the podcast. When did you first feel like a sizable shift after you started the journey of decluttering versus not decluttering? How did it affect your whole mood and your lifestyle and your emotions?
Oh, good question. I've never been asked that. I always get excited when I'm asked a question I've never heard before. So I would say the first thing is freeing. It just felt, is there a better feeling than feeling free, right? Like we're not in prison. So I would say that it opened up space for me. So one example I'll use is I am pretty much an introvert. I'm pretty shy, but now I get paid to do public speaking, and it's something that I love. And when talking to an audience and having these great conversations, and so that opened up the possibility to even attempt that. I had always considered myself a writer, but I was a closet writer, right? Like I'm not gonna put anything out in the universe. Well, now I've published several books, and I published myself, which I'm still proud of them. It didn't matter to me that I didn't have a publisher, and so I think it just opens up possibilities. You not only for the universe to greet you and open those doors, but for you to open yourself up to it and say, like, wow, what else is possible, right? And so I think those were the main things right off the bat.
That's amazing. And that's so inspiring because sometimes we need that little push to kind of help us and to kind of drag us along to to accept the journey and to motivate us to be better because sometimes we fall into, patterns of laziness, and
Mm-hmm.
we need that push to help us to show us that something is possible, that growth is possible. So I love that message.
Well, I think that it's true. And I think, so many times we have society or family or even well intentioned friends telling us you can't do it, right? Or don't try or stay small. And there are people out there that in a negative way want us to stay small. And we need now more than ever people to share their gifts with the world and to shine their light. It's very important.
It's so true. And it also kind of teaches us to prioritize that balance of doing and then not doing. And it's so interesting
Mm-hmm.
because today is actually National No Housework Day. So that dichotomy is so interesting. It's also a reminder. It's like, can we also detach from our obsessive need to be perfect? And because sometimes that's also a lesson. It's like we want to declutter, and sometimes when we become too obsessed or too looking just for the final products of how does everything look and forgetting about like, why actually are you doing it? Are you doing it for some kind of fear or shame? Or are you hiding parts of yourself? So I think it's a great reminder also to like be okay with taking a step back and embracing part of our mess, part of our hidden personalities, and to be okay with both parts of our shadow self and our soul.
The journey is so important. And, I'm glad you brought up a good point. Social media is not real. And, I remember reading this years ago, this woman, and she had kids, and she talked about hours setting up for the perfect picture. And I thought, oh my God, that would drive me insane. Like, I laugh. I do little shorts, and I've had people criticize me. And I'm like, that's okay. Then I'm not the person for you. And that's A-okay. And I'm about like, getting to good enough, right? I always say I'm surprised she hasn't come after me. I always say about Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, I read, sleeps 4 hours a night. She has a staff, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be Martha Stewart, right? It's not about perfection because perfection is not real. It's like, can I come into my space and relax, right? Is my emotional clutter of perfection gone, right? Perfection is not real. And then it's about digging deeper. What's the perfection about? Am I afraid I'm not going to be loved? What is it? Why, or was this, as we were talking about a moment ago, did someone place this unrealistic standard on me that I've been chasing my entire life, right? What is it? And the thing that's so wonderful about decluttering, and that I encourage people to do, is be like an archaeologist and look at what can I discover about myself, right? And then be like, yeah, this is a hunt for treasure. And what am I going to find out? And then what am I going to be able to release and let go and move forward?
I love that perspective because then you're not cleaning just for the sake of rushing and doing it, but you're kind of like mindfully and intentionally doing that. And when we do things in this kind of energy, we're able to discover a new part of ourselves and to kind of even have the gratitude that we're able to declutter and clean in a holistic way. So, like, I've
Hmm.
met people who have like a perfect house, it's super clean, and but they're mentally scattered, so it's not always a reflection that your house is clean and perfect, that you are
Hmm.
mentally sane and balanced. So we have to kind of readjust to our intentions for sure. It's like, yes, declutter and clean, but also, like you mentioned, like, why are you doing it and what is the driving factor behind it? And when we're able to appreciate the fact that we want to declutter to understand ourselves better, our space better, and to have
Hmm.
respect for ourselves and our space, I feel like that's a great place to start.
1,000%, right? And you just take that first step. And I'm a stats girl, so I always like to share this stat. If you spend 10 minutes a week, at the end of the year, you'll have done over 60 hours of work, and you can accomplish a lot in 60 minutes. So, or, I'm sorry, 10 minutes a
Wow.
day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I say, because if you can't give me 10 minutes a day, then give me 70 minutes on the weekend, right? But then within 60 hours, I mean, that's a lot, right? And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, okay, give me 10 minutes or have the time on the weekend, right? Because most of us can do that. And when people say to me, I can't give that time, what I always like to say is, how much time have you spent on social media or playing video games or watching TV, right? Because there's that excuse to not do it. That's why I say, try again.
Exactly. And what are your tips for people who have never really even focused on decluttering, like those first steps to help inspire them to begin that journey?
Well, I would say ask yourself, do you have, for example, an impending deadline? Like if you're getting flooring in the kitchen, then you're going to want to start decluttering there. If there is a crisis going on and you're not paying your bills, then you want to start in the home office. Something's driving you bonkers, start there. And remember, you want to start in one area and start small. Like, so I'm talking to you in my office. So to declutter my office, which is my husband's going out of town for 2 weeks. I'm like, yes, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff done. But then I would look, I have built in shelves. So I would start there and not move on until that was done. Now I like to write things down on pen and paper. I'm old school so that I can cross it off. So then okay, then I have a bookcase. And when that's done, and I can just start with one shelf, bam, you can do a shelf and a bookcase in 2 minutes, right? So again, going back to that, investing a small amount of time. So, get started with the question to help you figure out where you need to begin, and make sure you're in that area and don't move, and then just start.
As simple and as wonderful as that. Exactly. Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not a PhD, it's not rocket science. You can build those decluttering muscles, I promise.
Yes, and where can people connect with you and see all your content and everything about decluttering?
If they go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com, I've got all my information there. Connect with me on social media. If they sign up for my newsletter twice a month, they get free 10 tips to start decluttering your life right now. So you can download it, bam, get started.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Julie. It was a beautiful conversation, and I'm sure the listeners will be inspired to begin the journey of decluttering the mind, body, soul, and space.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.